Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about all of the events coming into World of Tanks Blitz. We're also going to be taking a look at this year's Halloween reward tank, which is known as the Rammer. It's an absolute hodgepodge of vehicles. It looks really cool, and I have all the stats of it, so we'll be breaking into that a little bit later in the video. We're going to start off with the events. This one appears to be free. We can see little battle icons, so my guess is these are battles needed to be played to unlock throughout the stages. And we can see you get license plates. You get 3, and then for every 9 subsequent wins, you get an additional license plate. You need 10 to get your hands on the gravedigger guaranteed, or it looks like you can get gravedigger crates. Either way, you can get this vehicle for free, is what it appears, which is actually pretty cool. I'm not going to say the gravedigger is the best tier 7, but it is a fun one. It's kind of a bully against lower tier vehicles, and because of that, it is rather fun. This is obviously not going to be a free event because there's a Smasher and Annihilator in it. This is something that a lot of people are probably excited for. I am not. I don't really think Wargaming should be selling these vehicles. I think it's bad for the progression of the game, and every time Wargaming releases these tanks, they basically are hitting a self-destruct button on their player base. But, oh well, that's not really my problem. What we can see is that obviously the Annihilator and Smasher will be coming into the game for purchase once again, so if you don't have it, now is possibly your chance to get your hands on it. And then we arrive at this vehicle, the Rammer. This is the Tier 7 Blitz Nation Heavy that we are going to be talking about in today's video. It's a very cool looking vehicle, and I'm quite excited to see just exactly how it's going to play. We've obviously talked about the seniority rewards already, with the fact that you're going to get a Concept 1B for free and all that other juicy stuff, but we are here to talk about the Rammer. We're going to break into its statistics and its armor profile and everything. So let's start off with how much armor it has. This is against 172 millimeters of pen, as we can see right there. However, I am going to be putting Cali on, so actually 186 millimeters of pen. The lower plate is pretty bad, like really bad. It's only about 90 millimeters effective, which is pretty useless if I'm going to be completely honest. And the upper plate is also pretty bad. It's only about 150 effective. There are some weird angles which are upwards of 230, but for the most part, it's really not going to be very hard to penetrate through the hull of this tank. Using gun depression, we can see that the turret does have some strong spots. The turret itself does have a decent amount of armor, but again, loading premium, you're going to cut right through. It's only got about 220-ish millimeters of mantlet armor. This tank really just doesn't seem to have much armor. Turret cheeks are only about 140 millimeters thick. Side scraping wise, it's pretty bad. I'm going to be honest. Like, you can see just how bad the side scraping capabilities are. Yeah, armor wise, this tank looks really bad. Rear is only 55 millimeters effective. The back of the turret's not too well armored either, only at about 70 millimeters thick. So, in terms of armor anywhere, it's not good. This is probably the weakest armored Halloween tank that Wargaming has released yet. So obviously, we're going to take a look at the other stats of the vehicle and see just what it has going for it. We are going to fully equip the tank, so we're going to put calibrated shells, enhanced gun leg drive, refined gun. We're going to put on extra hit points, mobility, and just like that, the whole tank is fully equipped. We can see it has normal consumables, so nothing special there. Let's take a look. Starting off, the gun has 1,885 damage per minute, which is pretty average for a tier 7. I can't say that's good. I also can't say it's bad. Loading premium, you do lose 320 effective damage per minute, but your standard, which is 186 mils a pen, does shoot up to 231. Damage per shot is actually quite nice at 350. I think that's a really solid in-between, especially at a low tier like 7. It's the ability to evenly trade with a lot of tier 8s and even out-trade a lot of tier 7s and 6s. 310 is normally what you find. The T29, T28 HTC, just a bunch of tier 7s in general, or even some tier 8s of 310 like the Tiger 2, the VK45. So I really like 350. I think it's a juicer alpha. Not only that, but it does have decent penetration as we went over. Dispersion-wise, the tank, its base dispersion is pretty mid at 0.344. It's not awful, though. What is pretty bad is the on-movement dispersion. It's 0.18, 0.18, and then it's got 0.12 on turret traverse. In general, that's just really, really mediocre on movement dispersion, and it's not going to allow the tank to be all that accurate at all. The gun depression is 7 degrees, so decently flexible. It's not awful, but it's enough that you'll be able to work it on most ridge lines, which is pretty good. Maneuverability, this vehicle reaches a top speed of 34 and reverses at 14 with an engine power of 1,240. That's because it weighs a lot, 73 tons. And it's got a really good power to weight, 17 on hard. However, its medium power to weight is a lot worse at only 12. So basically, if you're driving on sand or anything in that type of category, it's going to be a lot slower. And even in water, holy, only 8.5. That's pretty slow. So you are going to have to keep that in mind. It's really only going to be very quick on terms of acceleration on hard terrain, which is going to be quite rare to actually run into. Traverse speed is pretty alright, nothing crazy. It's got 1,477 hit points, which is pretty average for a tier 7 heavy. I think the Tiger 1's sitting at around 1,500, so yeah, nothing crazy there. And the camo values are pretty non-existent. So yeah, I'm going to be honest, taking a look at this vehicle statistics and the current way that it has been balanced, looking at the armor profile, yeah, this tank doesn't really look that good. I mean, I was really expecting it to be a heavily armored beast, but it doesn't really appear to have any armor, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, wow, this tank looks really, really disappointing, especially when you compare it to other tier 7 Blitz Nation heavies like the Forest Witch or the Annihilator, the Smasher, and obviously people need to realize that the Annihilator really is a hard tank to compare, and same for the Smasher. They are completely overpowered vehicles that abuse the game. They are not fair. But that doesn't mean we can't compare it to other vehicles. For example, we can get something as simple as a Lycan out. And the Lycan has an upper plate that's around 260, especially if you're running enhanced, which I would recommend. Yeah, it's about 260 millimeters thick on the upper plate of the Lycan. Using the 10 degrees gun depression it has, the upper plate goes upwards of 350. It's a really hard tank to pen. And if we were to fully equip the tank and, run everything properly on the vehicle, just like this, and we take a look at the Lycan, it has a better top speed, better reverse speed. Its power to weight is pretty similar on medium terrain. The vehicle features similar DPM with 400 damage per shot instead of 300. Yes, much worse dispersion and on movement dispersion, but it is 50 more damage per shot with 10 degrees gun depression instead of 7. The camo values are basically the same, and hit points are also basically the exact same. And the Lycan really isn't known as a spectacular heavy, but even this vehicle compared to something like the Rammer seems quite a bit stronger. So yeah, right now I hope Wargaming buffs the tank. I think that it either deserves an armor overhaul or some sort of gun overhaul, because right now the Rammer looks really mid, and there's no way you're going to be ramming a lot of people with a top speed of 34. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.